So I made a video last week where I talked about net neutrality, and I didn't really expect it to be such a popular kind of a topic on the channel necessarily, but a lot of people liked the video, and I got some follow-up questions with it that I want to kind of cover today of sorts. And I don't expect this to kind of be a regular thing. Usually when I get kind of excited about a topic, more so preachy, I spend 4 in the morning really just overthinking it, and eventually I want to make a video, such as the case right now. It's 4 in the morning and I want to get this kind of stuff off of my head. But basically, the last time I covered the net neutrality topic, I mentioned a couple examples, but today I'm going to offer some of my real examples to people over here and sort of touch upon things that I got asked for a follow-up. So this will be my final definitive clearing on basically what is the net neutrality issue, because I personally believe it's a massive, massive thing, especially for somebody like me, and I genuinely don't want things to go the way they're headed to, because it does spell doom and gloom for a lot of things. Now, last time I covered this video, a lot of people came out and said that, oh, well, if it's a United States thing, it doesn't really affect anybody internationally. And that's where I say things are wrong. Now, let me elaborate on this for an example. Let's say that you're watching something from your favorite American tech company. Now, if you're in the European Union, you probably have server farms over there. But if you're in any area where there's not a server farm, or specifically if you're in Canada or something like so, where the server farm is located in the United States, that does spell doom and gloom. And frankly, if this happens, I know I'm saying that word a lot, but if this happens into the United States, it does eventually permeate to the world all around us. But I wanted to give a real world example. And this example I actually had elaborated from my trip to Australia earlier this year. When I went down over there, my first actual experience with Australian internet, which I was told well in advance was going to be a really, really shit-fest experience, and it was, ladies and gentlemen. As beautiful as the country was, I went to every massive city they had. I went to Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, so on and so forth. I had a good time relaxing over there, good 2 weeks. But I experienced the beauty of Australian internet, and it's amazing, banging sales and whatnot. So upon landing in Melbourne, I basically had to get myself a prepaid SIM card, if anything, and this entirely comes down to getting mobile internet packages, because I wasn't gonna get actual internet service out there. That'd be kind of dumb. So besides the hotel Wi-Fi that I was really using, my main form of internet usage came down to my cell phone. So upon landing in Australia, I went and got a cell phone package from a company in Australia called Opus. Now, this company basically powers a lot of Australian telecom and New Zealand telecom. They're almost one and the same. But what was interesting about this company was that when I landed, they'd given me about, I think, 4 or 5 gigs of data for about 40, 50 bucks, 40 bucks, I think, which was their visitor package, so on and so forth. Now, throughout my course of 2 weeks staying in Australia, I used about all my data initially in week 1. I was traveling a lot, I listened to a lot of music, I was watching some videos, browsing some websites here and there when I was eating out or doing things, so on and so forth. So I was chewing through data like crazy, but at the end of the day, you pay for it, you use it. What was a really odd experience for me in Australia was I noticed that I was burning through data really, really quickly. And I mean, I was burning through stuff. When I'm back home in Canada and I'm using about the same amount of internet, I realized that having a similar package back home, I'm not using as much, I'm at least not burning through my quota as fast as I was in Australia. And then I found out a really, really shady thing that happens out in that part of the world. Now, for those of you who don't know, Australia and New Zealand don't have net neutrality laws, as far as my knowledge goes. So every packet of internet traffic is led up to the discretion of the ISP that provides it out in Australia. Now, as far as the biggest company I know that goes on over there is Telstra, which actually runs a lot of the telecom out there, and they are unanimously known for being really shit, according to many Australians. And my experience, at least there, proved to be such of a case. They charge an exorbitant amount. They don't provide anywhere close to the data that, or close to the speeds that you would expect from a first world country, and it's a slap to the face. In any other country, whether it be Japan or the European Union, has a lot better internet than what Australia offers. Even as much as we shit talk it around here in America and Canada, it's still a far better prospect than going out over there. But let me tell you the really shady thing and why net neutrality really shouldn't go the way that it's headed to in the States. The one big experience I had over there was actually having packages for specific services with my data. And what I mean by that is when I was down over there, the time I had to reload my data package because I absolutely ran out, it showed me a deal, and this is what was really, really sketchy to me. Opus had this deal out in Australia that if you bought mobile data, they favored, let's say, Google Play Music over every other group. Now, music streaming is something that I do a lot. I think a lot of people stream their music nowadays through services like Spotify or Apple Music or Google Play. But what Opus Telecommunications was doing, at least at the time when I was down there, was that they gave Google Play Music preferential treatment. Now, why is this necessarily a bad thing, you might wonder? For me, it wasn't. I do stream my music through Google Play. But let's assume you were using Apple Music or you were using Spotify, which is what a lot of people use. Spotify and Apple Music don't get that protection of being given the free data treatment. What I mean by free data treatment is if you're using Google Play Music, then you're allowed to stream as much music as you want and it doesn't count a bit towards your overall data consumption. Meaning that if you're an avid music streamer, like you're going around Australia, you're driving, you're in the subway, if you use services outside of Google Play Music, it's going to basically charge you. And eventually, it makes it so that Google is the only viable option if you're using that telecom. Now, other telecom companies have packages with certain other people, but you see what I'm trying to say over here? At the end of the day, it's basically for a couple of these select companies to profit off and basically abuse your free reign on the internet if you want to get down on that route. Essentially, if you were to use any other service besides Google, you would be charged maybe even more than what you would expect, which is why I suspected my data was being overcharged than what I expected and why I was burning through more data than I really expected to in such a short amount of time. So net neutrality, for a lot of people I wanted to really focus on, is the end of something that is going to give us the free reign control over the internet, if anything. And I really, really mean that to be a big deal. This only benefits a few people, and at the end of the day, it gives you less choice. But I'm going to end this where it's at. I already said it can be bad in many cases, but I gave you guys one of the big examples that I had. Aside from that, my general vacation was pretty awesome, and I came back refreshed and feeling pretty, bright-eyed, if anything. But just a quick example of how shit things can go. And again, it only benefits a few of these cunts who are really running some of these tech firms, and it gives you less choice. And let me tell you, if you think it's bad enough that it goes to music streaming, this can go to gaming, this can go to almost anything else. This can go to any package you might think. And if you think people censoring websites or at least pushing them down or giving you, less preferential treatment isn't a thing, you might want to reconsider the slippery slope we're headed down. So again, contact your lawmakers, people out in the US, and let's get this thing taken out. That being said, I'm going to go back and play some of these weird games. I actually ended up picking up this copy of Naughty Bear, which, can't wait to get that started. But that being said, just wanted to make a quick little follow-up because this topic is very important to me, and I do want to see it kind of smushed down. This is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike. I am out.